The morning had started quietly for Ethan, a single dad who always took his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, for early weekend hikes to help her shake off the weight of school stress and help himself forget the shadows of the past year. The forest trail hummed with soft birdsong, the kind that made Lily skip ahead, her tiny ponytail bouncing with every step. Ethan watched her with a smile, thinking this would be another peaceful morning until Lily froze near a fallen log, her voice trembling as she whispered, "Daddy, someone's lying there." Ethan hurried forward, heart pounding, as he found a man sprawled on the ground, pale, shivering, and drenched in blood. The air shifted from peaceful to deadly silent. Ethan crouched down, his hands shaking, realizing the stranger wasn't just hurt, he was dying. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan placed 2 fingers on the man's neck, searching for a pulse that flickered like a candle in a storm. Lily clutched her dad's jacket, her breath unsteady, eyes wide with fear and compassion. The stranger's lips moved, barely forming words, but Ethan could hear enough help. "Please, they're coming." That single sentence snapped every protective instinct inside him awake. He had no idea who they were, nor why they wanted this man dead. But what he did know was simple. Turning away wasn't an option. Ethan looked at Lily, her innocence, her trust, and made a split-second decision that would change everything. Asterisk, asterisk, he lifted the stranger onto his back. The man's weight almost unbearable, but fueled by an adrenaline that made Ethan move faster than reason. Lily ran beside him, breathless, glancing over her shoulder as the forest suddenly felt hostile, like eyes were hiding behind every tree. The stranger winced in pain, whispering fragments of something that sounded like a warning, or a secret. Ethan didn't ask questions. He just ran. The sun filtered through the trees, but even daylight felt thin against the dread creeping across their path. They had come here to enjoy nature, not to flee for their lives with a bleeding man in their arms. Asterisk, asterisk, by the time they reached Ethan's truck, the stranger had passed out again, his breath shallow and irregular. Ethan placed him in the back seat carefully, as Lily rushed to fetch the first aid kit. Her hands trembled as she opened it, but her eyes stayed steady, brave, like her father trained her to be. Ethan worked quickly, applying pressure to the wounds, whispering calming words to both his daughter and the unconscious man. Every second stretched like hours, and Ethan could feel time slipping through his fingers, threatening to steal a life right in front of his daughter's eyes. He turned the engine on and sped toward town. Asterisk, asterisk, but halfway down the dirt road, another car appeared behind them, black, tinted, aggressive. Ethan's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, and he saw 2 men inside, leaning forward as if they already knew who he was carrying. Lily noticed too, shrinking into her seat. Ethan tightened his grip on the steering wheel and whispered, "Hold on, sweetheart." He veered off the main road, kicking up clouds of dust, forcing the truck through bumps and dips he'd normally avoid. The black car followed, closing the distance. Lily gasped as the stranger regained consciousness just long enough to utter, "Don't let them take me." Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan could have abandoned the man right there and saved himself and his daughter from danger any other parent might have. But he felt something deeper pulling at him, the memory of people who once walked away from him when he needed help most. He refused to be like them. Gritting his teeth, Ethan pushed the truck harder, navigating a narrow path that only locals knew. Branches scraped the sides, and the engine roared in protest. But the black car couldn't follow at such speed. They lost it, at least for the moment. Lily exhaled shakily, and Ethan reached over to squeeze her hand. "We're okay," he whispered, though his heart was pounding like war drums. Asterisk, asterisk. Ethan brought the truck to the back entrance of a small rural clinic closed on weekends but owned by Dr. Reyes, an old friend who trusted him. There was no time for permission. He carried the stranger inside, laid him on a cot, and began searching for supplies as Lily followed silently. He stitched wounds with trembling hands while Lily held the flashlight, determined not to break down. The stranger finally stabilized, falling into a deep, exhausted sleep. Ethan wiped his forehead, staring at the man he had just risked everything to save, wondering who he really was and why he was running from armed men. Asterisk, asterisk, hours passed before the stranger woke, eyes hazy but filled with relief. He introduced himself as Marcus, a former investigative journalist, who had uncovered evidence of a powerful crime ring tied to government officials. They wanted him dead before he published anything. Ethan listened with a heaviness settling into his bones. Marcus explained that he had been escaping through the forest after being ambushed. If Ethan and Lily hadn't found him, he would have died alone under the trees. Lily sat beside him, offering water with a gentleness that softened even the weight of his story. Marcus promised he would disappear as soon as he recovered, not wanting to pull them further into danger. Asterisk, asterisk, but danger didn't wait. That night, the black car returned, this time accompanied by another. Ethan saw them through the clinic window, headlights slicing through the darkness as they searched the area. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed Lily's hand and directed Marcus to the back exit. The 3 slipped into the shadows, their breaths cold in the night air. Ethan guided them through alleys and abandoned roads, finally reaching an old safe house left to him by his late brother. There, Marcus revealed a hidden flash drive containing the evidence that would expose dozens of criminals. Ethan realized they weren't just protecting a man, they were protecting the truth. At dawn, Ethan contacted a trusted journalist he once knew through his brother's charity work. Within hours, the evidence went public, igniting a firestorm across national media. The criminals were exposed, arrests were made, and Marcus was granted protection. Reporters everywhere praised Ethan as a hero, but he stayed quiet, holding Lily close as the world buzzed around them. All he had done was choose compassion over convenience, humanity over fear, and it became a choice that changed the country. What stunned everyone most wasn't the scandal itself, but the fact that an ordinary single dad and his little girl had saved a man the world would have lost, simply because they refused to walk away. Ethan had always believed that early morning hikes helped clear the mind. As a single dad raising his 8-year-old daughter Lily, these weekend forest walks weren't just a routine, they were therapy. The sun filtered softly through the tall pine trees, painting the ground with golden streaks. Lily hopped from one rock to another, humming songs only she understood. Everything felt peaceful, quiet, and safe until the moment peace shattered like broken glass. Lily stopped suddenly. She didn't gasp or scream. She just froze, her small body stiffening in fear. Daddy, someone's there, she whispered, pointing at a cluster of bushes. Ethan rushed toward her, thinking she maybe spotted a wounded animal. But when he pushed aside the branches, his stomach dropped. A man lay sprawled on the ground, his clothes torn, his breathing shallow, blood staining the earth beneath him. His eyes fluttered open for a second, dark, terrified, pleading. Ethan knelt beside him instantly. Sir, can you hear me? A weak whisper escaped the man's cracked lips. Help, please, they're coming. That sentence alone hit Ethan like a punch. Who were they? Why was this man practically dying in the middle of the forest? And most importantly, were they endangered too? Lily clutched her dad's sleeve, her eyes teary and wide. Daddy, is he gonna die? Ethan swallowed hard. He didn't know the answer, but he knew one thing for sure. No one deserved to die alone on a forest floor. He slid his arms under the man's shoulders and struggled to lift him. The man was heavier than he looked, and Ethan's muscles strained, but fear pushed him forward. Lily helped by grabbing the man's backpack, dragging it behind her with small, determined steps. As they moved, the forest suddenly felt wrong. Too quiet, too still, as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. Halfway to the truck. The man mumbled again fragments of sentences, warnings, names Ethan didn't recognize. His breathing grew weaker. Lily, despite shaking, kept pace with them, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting eyes to appear from between the trees. They reached the truck, and Ethan gently placed the man in the back seat. He tore open the first aid kit, trying to slow the bleeding. Lily held the flashlight with trembling hands. She didn't cry. She didn't run away. She just whispered, "It's okay. You're safe now," to a stranger she'd never met. Then Ethan heard the crunch of tires on gravel. A black car appeared through the trees, approaching slowly, deliberately. Its windows were tinted, its movements predatory. Ethan's blood turned cold. Lily, he whispered, voice tight, "Get in the truck, now."